Hello friends, Sarah Sunstone here, and welcome back to Thinking Out Loud. Today, I'll be sharing my thoughts on the latest oracle from the team behind Witchbrook. So without any further ado, let's get right into it. So here we have issue number 5, published on the 20th of summer, entitled The Quiet Side of Summer. I will have this edition of the oracle linked in the description if you'd like to follow along with me. Now, the very first thing that is grabbing my attention is this brand new in-game still. Last edition, we took a look at the boardwalk, and here we're actually getting to see the beach. I really love that although Witchbrook has this cozy, magical, academic setting, it is also located within a seaside town, so we do get the ocean here too. And we're going to circle back to this image once we get into some of the content of the oracle. So as always, this is written by Eli, who starts out by saying, "Can you believe summer's ending?" Which actually aligns with IRL time right now. So my answer is no, I can't, because I feel like it just started. But I'm so ready for cozy season and getting even closer and closer to the release of Witchbrook. And although we still don't have a release date just yet, it is supposed to be releasing in holiday of 2025, which is coming up. So make sure you subscribe to my channel with your notifications on so you stay in the loop on our road to release. Eli continues to say that Mossport, which is the town the game is set in, has been in relaxation mode, with sunbathers lounging, kids crowding the capsule toy machines, and sandcastles everywhere. Maybe this is just wishful thinking, but I hope there are capsule toy machines that we can interact with. I am all for little mystery prizes, so I feel like that'd be so fun. Even in the summer, witches have responsibilities. What does slowing down mean for us? So I assigned myself a serious investigation. Ice cream and notebook in hand, he hit the beach. So there Eli was, walking under the briny brushes piers, when I spotted a crab scuttling by. We were just introduced to the briny brush in the last edition of the oracle. This is the local art shop and gallery, and it is part of the seaside boardwalk. So naturally, Eli followed the crab, and the beach changed quickly. The chatter faded, wild grasses sprouted along the dunes, and at one point they glimpsed something sleek beneath the waves. Probably nothing. I usually don't come this far. Most people don't. But something about the quiet, the sea breeze, I lost track of time. I wandered, foraging kelp and other oddities. It was peaceful. Until it wasn't. Now, before we leave the piece, I have quite a few thoughts. First of all, I really like the picture that this is painting because it seems like there will be areas of the beach that are more wild and less populated. So we do know there will be tourists coming in and out of the town of Mossport, and there is that boardwalk area which is more built up, and there'll probably be lots of folks there and like shops and stuff like that. But it is cool that it sounds like there'll be some areas that are just more natural and, you won't really see others there. You might see lots of wildlife. So I think those areas will be really fun to explore in the game. I did think this line was really interesting, where Eli glimpses something sleek beneath the waves, which is probably nothing. Could this just be a fish? Could there be some kind of mythical, magical sea creatures? I mean, in a magical world, who's to say there isn't? And the other thing that really stuck out to me was here, Eli actually was foraging kelp and other oddities. So I wonder if that's an activity that we can do as well in our gameplay. It would be really nice to be able to bring our foraging to the beach as well, and maybe even find some buried or washed up treasures. Alright, so next, what disturbed Eli's peace? Apparently a seal-like machine suddenly crashed into the sand in front of me, and moments later, Pip Marin barreled in behind, remote in hand. So Pip's another student here, a brilliant witch mechanic with a dockside garage and a talent in making inventions. Now this specific contraption collects seaweed and exfoliates your feet, but Eli did not request a demonstration. Pip says that summer classes aren't her thing because inspiration is revving and she can't sit still. So now back to this new art. This is Eli here on the right. But after this character introduction, I believe this could be Pip. And if the team is sticking with their pattern, there is also a chance that we'll be introduced to Pip next as an NPC, and perhaps even a dateable NPC, but only time will tell. At this point, the only thing we know about Pip is that she's a mechanic. She does have that dockside garage and the talent in making inventions. I do wonder if this will be integrated into our gameplay as well, like perhaps she can tune up our broom or introduce us to other gadgets that we can somehow use either within the school or out on our daily adventures. I really like the idea of having these inventions within a magical world. There's something really charming about that and unexpected. I think, for me at least, when I'm thinking about magic, I'm just thinking like anything can then be cast as a spell or maybe brewed as a potion. But the idea of magical inventions and gadgets is also really cool. So next, Eli says, I get it, with summer classes not being Pip's thing. Honestly, I've been feeling guilty about doing fewer classes lately. It's been busy tutoring, running the Oracle, and assessing all the boardwalk ice cream I ate in the name of journalism. But witches shouldn't stop growing just because it's sunny. There's times I feel like I should be doing more. But that day, I realized occasionally more means doing less. He continues to say that all it took was a simple beach walk and I saw Mossport and myself differently. I found new ingredients, I saw a coven mate, and I made discoveries about the world around me. The kind I can use in the classroom. The kind that will help me become a better witch. Maybe that's the lesson. Seeing clearly requires some distance now and then. So I really love this because I feel like it's emphasizing the importance of exploring in the world outside of just the walls of the classrooms and how you'll be able to discover new forageables, new ingredients you can use, and maybe learn lessons that you can apply to your, magical education. So although the Oracle is very much focused on lore and world building, it does really lead me to believe that your daily life in the town of Mossport and your academic life within the school of Witchbrook are both going to be very well integrated, both from a story standpoint and also integrated within the gameplay itself. This is all just speculation, but that's kind of the vibe I'm getting, and that's the hope I have, because I do think that will really enhance our experience of playing Witchbrook and will also kind of make it a more long-term type of game where we can play more openly and ideally over the course of many, many hours. Eli says that by nightfall, the beach had emptied, and beyond Mossport skyline, the lights of the school shimmered on the horizon, steady as ever. Sometimes the best route is taking the long way back. So again, I feel like this is really encouraging you to explore, go off the beaten path, see what you can discover in the world. So next, let's take a look at the 2 side columns that have been written in anonymously. The first is titled A Productive Route. It says, if focusing is a struggle, I highly recommend taking the Mossport bus loop. The gentle motion, the ambiance, the scenic coastline. It's surprisingly calming and it's all free. I did 3 consecutive loops and got so much reading done, more than I have in weeks. Also, vending machines are easily spotted from the window if you need a quick snack pit stop. Thinking of starting a small study group that rides together. Please respond if interested. Signed, focused but motion sick. Now, I don't think I would be able to study on a bus. I would definitely be falling asleep though. Something about me is I instantly get super sleepy if I'm a passenger in a moving vehicle. So we have seen the Mossport bus a couple of times, and it does seem like it's going to be almost like our fast travel system of how we get around the town. And so it's great to know that that's actually going to be a free bus system. So we're not going to need to be spending money each time we want to go from point A to point B, or exchanging some sort of in-game currency for that. I also love the mention of vending machines. We've seen a couple vending machines here and there, and this once again makes me feel like they will be functional. We will be able to actually use them, which would be lovely because I always just feel like the more interactivity within the world, the better. I want to sit on the benches. I want to be able to use the vending machines. The next column is titled Stop the Flyer Spam, and it reads, whoever keeps taping flyers around campus recruiting a serious pub quiz team. No slackers. We get it. You're passionate, but you keep covering other people's ads, such as my own, and at this point, I'm recognizing your handwriting. How much paper are you going through? Do you have a flyer budget? I saw 23 yesterday. Please layer responsibly. Some of us are just trying to rehome an old kettle. Signed, Poster Peeved. So this is quite funny, but I do love that it sounds like there's going to be lots of flyers, because in the last developer blog, they shared that flyers will be a way for you to encounter new quest lines, learn tips, and just generally discover new things about all sorts of goings on in Mossport. And I feel like that's such a fun way to pick up quests, is a more immersive way too. And I always love having lots of things to do. So I do actually really hope there's a lot of flyer spam. I do wonder if there's actually going to be this serious pub quiz team, if that's going to be a thing in the game, either just in terms of lore or maybe in terms of interactivity. It would be cool if there were little events at the local pub or other buildings around the city of Mossport. And if they had little events that would get students involved in such, I think that would be fun, especially in the case of multiplayer. And then moving down to the ad space, this time we have an advert for the Briny Brush. So once again, that's the art supply shop and gallery that we were previously introduced to. I love the vibes of this one, especially because it is that seaside boardwalk shop. The color palette is perfect. It says they offer high quality art materials that are all made in Mossport. And then finally, we have our bottom 3 columns. The first one is titled Constellations Won't Help with Homework. They're ancient and impossibly powerful. Here's why they're not especially interested in your upcoming alchemy exam. So this is interesting because I feel like we do actually use constellations in some of our like coursework, but maybe this statement is more from the angle of like, you can't really just ask the stars like how to do your homework or like to help you with your homework, which is kind of funny. The next column reads, top 5 tarot mistakes everyone makes. It says, check out these tips before starting that card reading. Sneak peek. Avoid including playing cards in your deck as a fun novelty, which is a great tip. You definitely don't want to mix playing cards in with your tarot deck. I really hope there is some sort of like tarot involvement in the game, whether we like have our own deck or there's like a mini game or we can just get a tarot reading, just something simple like a single card pull or something like that. I feel like that would be really fun. And then the third column is titled Client Consultations, the Inside Scoop. Make a good impression in a client's home. Includes bonus advice on doormat etiquette, cats, and how many times you should knock. And I'm not sure if this is referencing any specific type of client consultation, but just in general in this game, the way you're going to be doing your odd jobs around town is you're actually going to be doing it in a more personal way. So you'll go visit the clients to have a little meeting with them and see what they need help with. And then you'll pursue that course of action to actually bring them some aid. So that will include home visits, and clearly there is some important etiquette involved with that. So once again, a really nice touch to the Oracle that actually, relates to our gameplay. At the very bottom, we get a little teaser for the next issue, where we're going to take a closer look at the rumors, hauntings, and mysteries that swirl through campus. This will be perfect to read through in spooky season in the month of October. The timing could not be better. I am wondering if we're going to start getting like some answers towards all of the weird, mysterious, eerie clues and messages that have been in previous editions of the Oracle. And that leads me to the last thing I want to chat about today, which is the fact that I cannot figure out if there is a clue or a mystery in this edition. There were a few things that stood out to me, so maybe you guys can help out down in the comments and see if you can piece some things together. So the first thing that stood out to me is that this edition of the Oracle is a different price than every other one. So all of the other ones were D2, so 2 of their currency per issue, and this one says D3. So this one is a 3 instead of a 2 for the issue pricing. That might just be a coincidence, but I don't know. It feels like anytime they're consistent with something and then they change it up, that feels like it's been a clue historically. So this is jumping out to me. The other thing that's jumping out to me was where it mentions the lesson. Seeing clearly requires some distance now and then. I don't know if this is a hint. If it is, it could be maybe suggesting that we need to kind of look at things beyond just this edition of the Oracle. Like maybe we should be going back to past editions. Maybe I am going down a rabbit hole that does not exist. But this did kind of like stick out to me. It's like, that's an interesting little message. And the only other thing that made me do a double take was in this column where the writer says they did 3 consecutive loops. I could definitely just be latching on to that because it's a number, but 3 and 3 up here, I don't know. The other number in this edition is 23, where they saw 23 flyers. It seems like a very specific number and a very high number. You know what I actually just noticed as I was looking at previous editions is that this is the first issue that is labeled with a Roman numeral. This is issue number 5. But the previous ones were like issue number 4, issue number 3, issue number 2, and issue number 1. Here you can also see the pricing discrepancy I was mentioning. So are they switching it up so they don't keep using numbers just for aesthetics, or is the V a hint? V3, 3 consecutive loops, 3 Vs, 23, yeah. I will keep investigating. Again, if you guys have any ideas based off of the clues I've shared that may or may not be clues, definitely let me know in the comments. I would, keep investigating, but I did want to get this video out for you guys in a somewhat timely manner. So we can definitely follow up on this, but as always, feel free to share your thoughts with me down in the comments, whether it be on our investigative work or just on the contents of the Oracle itself and all the things you're excited for and curious about. You guys know anything and everything. I absolutely always love hearing from you. And with all that being said, thank you so much for watching. I love you all. And until next time, take care.